For weeks now, we have been seeing attacks on U.S. bases and our troops in Iraq and Syria. How serious of an escalation is this attack on U.S. ships in the Red Sea?
Well, there have been several launches of drones and missiles by the Houthis north up the Red Sea. Not clear whether they were aimed at commercial vessels, our ships, or intended for Israel or something nearby. But to be clear, the Houthis would have no capability whatever in this regard if it weren't for Iran. Houthis have used these weapons supplied by Iran previously, attacking civilian targets in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. So there's no doubt where they come from, and there's no doubt really who has the right to tell them to press the button. It is Iran. Why is this dangerous in the Red Sea in particular? Obviously, the American Navy uses that as an important route between the Mediterranean and the Arabian Sea, but it's also hugely important for international commerce. Ships that go through the Suez Canal have to exit at the southern end of the Red Sea into the Arabian Sea through a very narrow strait. And this ability of the Houthis to attack these ships, which amount maybe to 10% of international commerce, like 20,000 ships or more go through the Suez Canal every year, is a very significant choke point. So this activity should be of concern to the United States. I wouldn't call it an escalation because I think we're in an escalated war already. I don't think this is just a Hamas-Israel conflict.
Yeah, you think we've already reached that point. Bottom line, Ambassador, you don't want to scare anybody, but certainly the big question top of mind for many Americans as we're watching these tensions escalate, is the U.S. on the verge of being drawn into a wider Middle Eastern conflict, in a war that we are directly involved in with boots on the ground?
Well, I think, as I say, we're already there. American positions in Syria and Iraq are being attacked by Shia militia, again, armed, equipped, trained, financed by Iran, and really directed as part of their overall ring of fire strategy against Israel. And I do not think we've responded adequately. We've not deterred the attacks. They continue, and I think they will continue until Iran itself feels some pain. So while attention, understandably, right now is focused on the Gaza Strip, I think it would be a big mistake for Americans to lose sight of this broader strategic concern, especially given Iran's continued pursuit of nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles that could ultimately hit us.
Yeah. I was reading the piece that you wrote for the Wall Street Journal this morning, and in it you described the tension growing between Israel's two main objectives of eliminating Hamas, wiping them off the map, but also recovering innocent civilians. But you say the greatest threat to Israel's legitimate right to self-defense is what you call the terrorist veto. What do you mean by that, sir? Elaborate that a little bit more for our viewers.
Well, what Hamas and its allies have done have diverted the world's attention away from their terrorist attack on October the 7th and toward the question of how many hostages will be released or toward the plight of the citizens of Gaza. We need to bear in mind that Israel's right of self-defense legitimately entitles it to eliminate the terrorist threat, to eliminate Hamas. That's what Hamas is trying to avoid, obviously, through pausing the hostilities to give it more time to dig in and prepare its defenses, by the utterly cynical and barbaric way it uses its own Gazan fellow residents as human shields, in an effort to try to really overwhelm consciousness in the West and maybe even in Israel to give up their objective. And I think it's just inevitable. If Israel doesn't eliminate Hamas, we're going to be right back to where we are here in fairly short order.
Yeah, back to square one. And speaking of the attacks that we started with from the Houthis this morning, in your article, you were also very critical of the Biden administration, how the White House has handled this conflict, some of the policies that have come from it. If you were advising President Biden right now, what would you be telling him in terms of how to handle this war and where we go from here?
You've got to look at this from a broader regional strategic perspective. This is not simply a Hamas war against Israel. This is Iran controlling its terrorist surrogates, including Hezbollah, the Houthis, as we've discussed, the Shia militia in Iraq. And if you don't treat that big picture, then I think it's more likely that we get drawn into a wider war. The administration just simply will not acknowledge Iran's central role here. And I think the Biden administration will be shamed in history, and so will its supporters, by this eyes wide shut approach to Iran. That's where the center of this problem really lies.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.